Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. My name is Teresa and I am your cruise director on the Magical Mystery Tour. We have dupes. It is dupes time again. We have one side of my face with one lot of products and one side of my face with another. There is a spendy and a savey side. This is a full face of dupes. What do you think is the spendy and the savey side? Before we get to that, let me know your thoughts down below and then watch. But first, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Ring the notification bell to be alerted to any new uploads. And if you like this channel at the end, please give it a big thumbs up. Let's go play. Right, so I have a notebook set up in front of me with everything listed and prices. Let's hope that I can read them. So I'm going to start off with, I have different brushes set up here. I have, for when I have to use the same brush, my brush cleaner and a microfiber cloth. So I think, let's just clean. Clearly I didn't get all of my mascara off yesterday. Isn't that terrible? Okay, so I think we'll do the expensive side this side and the affordable this side. Have to remember that. So starting off with the Rare Beauty, I've just got a little sample of it, the Rare Beauty Always an Optimist Primer. And let me just pop that on. It's quite liquidy. So the thing with these are, some of them, like they're not, I haven't looked in this because it's not skincare as such. I haven't looked for a like for like ingredient. I have tried to get a feel that is the same, a feel or a look. So this is quite a juicy illuminating primer. Full price is $50. So all the prices that I'm using are Australian and are current at time of filming. On the other side, I have the L'Oreal Glotion or Lumi Glotion in the shade Fair, which is the lightest shade in it. It is not quite as liquidy, and I almost didn't get, like I wasn't going to do a primer today just because I really wanted to avoid doing another Charlotte Tilbury dupe, like, let's be honest. So instead I have gone for this. And look, I guess the thing with primers is that I'm just setting this one to the left here so I can remember that that's a side. The thing with this is that they all essentially do the same thing. They are giving you a glow. You can see I've got a juicy glow with that. This I'm really excited about. I haven't tried it, but since I've been using them, I have thought it and I have said it to a few people. For foundation, we have, for this side, we're going to use the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin, which is $76 full price, and the Revlon Skin Silk Luminous Serum Foundation, which is $24 full price. These are, however, a slightly different colour. But let me tell you, the feel of them on your skin is the same. Oh, I did just squeeze that out accidentally. This is the Revolution one. It is a bit more viscous. It's a thinner formula and it's a bit runnier, but they do feel the same on the skin. So going in, or the look I should say, the finish, they're both a luminous product. So going in with the Mario now on this side. It is a slightly thicker product. This is interesting, going down the nose, trying to only get half. It is a really nice full or medium coverage, but buildable product. And it just makes your skin look juicy and hydrated. Like, seriously. Now, on this side, This is a slightly peachier. This is a lighter weight one, but you're going to get the same look. So if you have tried the Mario but feel like it's a little bit too heavy, like the feel of it, a lot of people are going through phases where they hate the feel of foundation on their skin. This is a really good alternative. Again, it is a medium to buildable coverage. As I said, there was a slight colour difference, but let's be honest, can you tell once that's on the skin? I don't think you can. Comes down to I'm as pale as hell. I'm just building up this a little bit more. But, I mean, come on. Like I said, this had a slightly peachier undertone to it. But on the skin, you can't actually tell. They look the same. Next up we have concealer. So on the high-end side, we are using the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. This is in the shade N3 Fair Light Neutral. This is $54. On this side, we are using the W7 Oh So Sensitive Concealer in Light Warm. This is $7. I do only have the one concealer brush, so I will be cleaning it off between on a microfiber cloth. My Natasha concealer came with the stopper and it just stays inside. It makes it quite messy. So this is slightly darker than my, I almost went to put it on under there, than my foundation, based on cleaning that off now to tap it out because I put too much on there. Based on the information that I put in. But what it does, you would think, you know, we're so used to brightening under our eyes and going for a much lighter colour. Slightly darker, for me, I have found is much more forgiving and actually looks better. Okay, cleaning this off now. Okay. You can see now that is clean, and going in on this side with the W7 Oh So Sensitive, and same thing, it's a bit of a peach shade to it, which is why I picked this. I actually really like this as well. So it's a slightly thinner formula, but it essentially does the same thing that the Natasha does. You might, because it is a little bit thinner, I'm just putting an extra dab on. But that's one of the trade-offs that we get with some products, to be quite honest. You know, would you rather put an extra dab on to get to where you are and save, well, 10 times, like pay 1/10 the price? I mean, look. If anything, is it me or is that looking quite noticeable there, but not there? That looks slightly more blurred. Is that just me? Interesting. I'm just going to let that dry for a second. You're always best to let your concealers completely dry down so that they don't get cakey. If you have an issue with cakiness, with it breaking down, with it looking too dry, let it dry down. Of course, if you put powder under wet paint, what's going to happen? A couple of things to note is, I'm just going to hydrate my lips. A couple of things to note is that I am using MAC paint pot on both eyes. Give it a fair chance. I'm using the same mascara on both eyes, and I'm using the same setting spray to give it a proper chance. There are 3 things to make it overall, mainly because, look, this is a brand new one of these. My setting spray, $16. It's a savvy. It's my most used one. Mascara, I always find really, really tricky. I tend to prefer, I have some high-end mascaras that I like, but I tend to lean more into the savvy mascaras, though I'm using a Tarte one today, which I'm obsessed with at the moment, and nothing can touch my MAC paint pot, to be quite honest. I'm going into powder now. On high-end, high-end side, the high-end side, we have the Hydra Beauty Easy Bake in the shade Pound Cake. This is $66. It is, so many people say this is the absolute best. On the other side, we have an indie brand, another indie brand, Kimchi Cosmetics, the Puff Puff Pass in Translucent. This is as finely milled as this, and in my personal opinion, I prefer this over this, and it is $34, so nearly half price. So I have two. Going in with the Hydra. And I will tap off. These are close to being the same colour, but slightly different. The Puff Puff Pass has just probably a slightly more peach shade to it, just ever so slightly. So tapping off onto the back of the hand so that it works into that brush, or puff I should say, and going in. I mean, this is 100% blurring. I am going to do my whole face. Up and over. Now it looks like a lot when I'm powdering down my whole face. However, it's a light layer on the brush that has been worked, onto the puff that has been worked in. We are going to be putting cream products on over the top. Other puff now, clean off the back of my hand and tapping into this. And going in. Just like the Hydra. I actually think this probably has a little bit better coverage than the Hydra does. I prefer it. Does it have a scent? If you can, I do believe Hydra's brought out one without a scent now, but if you want to save some dollars, go into Kimchi, because like, look at that, both sides, blurred to buggery. This also has a really beautiful puff that comes in it, but I did use the same puff. Now, I am going to do my usual first set down on my face now, so I'll do that and I'll come right back. I'll also prep my eyes. So we are back and everything is melted in. You cannot tell that there is two different foundations on there. In all honesty, I've prepped my eyes. We're moving on to brows now. So on the high end side, we have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer in soft brown. This is just the sample size. It's $49 for the full size. And on this size, we have the designer brands DB Cosmetics Absolute Brow Pencil in the shade Hickory, which is $12.99 full price. So brushing brows into place on this side. So it's sort of a cool tone brown. Please ignore my crazy eyebrows. Gosh, I really, really need to tint and not only tint but tame. They need a good pruning, so to speak, because they're getting out of control. They're turning into old lady brows. They're just doing their own thing. Now on this side we've got DUPE. Oh, my eyes just went a bit blurry. So this is probably a little bit softer in formulation than the ABH. So the ABH is a little bit drier, but they're so similar. Okay. Now I'm going to set them with the same product on both sides. They've got to be glued. MK Beauty have brought out a dupe for this. It absolutely in no way is a dupe. It just does not compare to this product at all. So yeah, there's that. I have brush marks going through there. I went in a bit vigorous. Right, so let's get into a liquid bronze, and this one I've been pretty keen to bring to you. This is the Makeup by Mario. I love this. I love this. This is the Soft Sculpting Bronze and Shaping Serum that's got that doe foot applicator in it, as well as a pump. This is the shade Light. It is $62, and on this side we have the Morphe Hot Shot Sundrops in the shade Money Honey, which is $26. So put way too much on my little tray there. The Morphe drops are slightly more viscous. Again, they've got a slight, this is, well, it's barely moving. I mean, if I sat there forever it would come down. But going in, I might need another pump of Mario. Going in, whoops, work that into my brush. Okay, I've really worked it into the brush now. Probably a bit too much. Okay, so tapping that on. This is such a beautiful product. Like, it's just a really subtle, if you don't like a massive heavy feeling bronzer and you want a liquid so that it feels lighter on your skin. Oh, I've gone too much. Then this is for you. However, don't do what I just did. Let's fix this. But because it's so light, we can, actually I might clean off my lips now, because I'm going to put a little bit there, just under. Tap that around. I mean, look at that. That is beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Now, that's the brush I use for that. Going into the other side now. And here is La Morphe. This is just a smidgen warmer. This is obviously the shade, what shade did I say? Money Honey, which is one of their lightest ones. But again, it's that nice liquidy, super lightweight liquid formula. Just keep tapping at that. So for this one, you can see slightly warmer than that. If you're okay with it being slightly warm, and it's not too warm, like if you're looking at that on its own, if you're okay with a slightly warmer product, or your budget would prefer you to be kinder to your wallet, then 100% these drops going in now with a liquid blush, and we have the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch liquid blush in the shade Hope. Now I have the smaller size, which is $27, but full size is $45. The Glaminatrix blush in the shade Gentle is the size of the full size of the Rare Beauty, and that is $25. So still cheaper than this. So I am putting it onto my spatula because you can put it straight onto your cheek, sure, but what this does is allow you to have a bit more control over the blend. So that is the Rare Beauty Hope, and this is Glaminatrix Gentle. Okay, these will work. They're the same sort of head on them. Going in, stamping into, working it into the brush, into the Rare Beauty. It's tapped in. You don't need a huge amount, and which is why I worked it into the brush. Oh, hey, guess what I've been reading? And doing the same with the Glaminatrix. The blush trend for this year. It's part of the, is it Aura makeup? The mood makeup? I'm ahead of my time. It's more flattering. So this is not as pigmented, I will say. So I'm going in with a bit more, but it's the same with anything else. Nearly everyone other than the Rare Beauty, you have to build. And quite frankly, I would prefer to have to build than be going in too hard, because we have blush blindness. I tend to. There we are. I mean, this is just a little bit more subtle. I like it. I have a liquid highlighter. I'm going to use a liquid highlighter, but then I'll go over it with a powder in a different shade. And I want to do this very specifically because of the price difference between these products, which are bananas. We have the Dior Forever Glow Maximizer in the shade Peachy, which is $79. And then we have the Revolution Pro Hydra Bright Cream Blush in the shade Peach, which is $16. I'm just putting these on the back of my hand to show you. Guys, I had an accident. It's gone everywhere. I just pulled the lid off. It's everywhere. I just need to sit that to the side for now because it's all over my hands. It's down the front of my dress. I'm hoping I can get that off after. So much for that. So I don't know if you can see, this is the Dior, this is the Revolution. That is literally everywhere. I'm not even touching what's on my dress just yet because the minute I touch it, that is going to smear everywhere. So, going in with, I need to put a bit more on here now because of the Dior, because I have so much of the Revolution. Working it into my brush and just tapping. I was obsessed with this when it came out, just bringing that like a blush lighter over. Oh, so pretty. Now going in to the Revolution on this side and the same thing, using it like a blush lighter. Can we, Dior Revolution Pro, not taking into consideration that I just wore a lot of it. Thank God it was the Revolution and not the Dior, is all I will say. These both look beautiful, beautiful on the cheeks as opposed to up your arm, on your desk, on your dress. I'm just going to go and wash my hands because it is everywhere. Well, I have cleaned myself up as best as I can. You can't see it. I'm like a toddler that's eaten spaghetti. So coming up now, we have a powder highlighter, which look, I don't need it, but I do have one for you. So I'm going to see how we go with it. This is the Fenty Beauty Demi Glow Highlighter in the shade Prosecco, which is $60. And on the savvy side, we have Savvy by DB. Can I read the shade on this? I don't know if it has an individual shade. This is like $10. Mineral Baked Highlighter in the shade Radiant Rose. It's not rose, it's more a champagne. 2 brushes, the trusty Flower Beauty highlighter brushes. If you can see these anywhere, grab them. They're fantastic before they're all gone. Going in to the Fenty Beauty and just going over that spot. We know I like to bathe in a bit of highlighter. I didn't do that side of my nose with. Just realised I've only got one side of my nose done. Cripes, criminies. Let's fix that. Did I do? Yeah, I did there. Honestly. Okay. Going down there, going there. Do a little bit under there. Wow, it's just all gotten away from me, hasn't it? Okay, now on the other side, as I said, the Savvy, which is $10. This is more champagne than the than the, oh my God, Fenty Beauty Cripes. But we're picking up a glow from both. It's probably not as much alike as I thought it was going to be honest. That's probably the furthest apart from either of them. Both really nice highlighters. This has just a little bit more texture, not the colours a little bit wonky. Now, what I have before, I'll do my eyes first. I've got a finishing powder, but I'll do that after, just in case I get a lot of fallout. So I have a palette here that I thought was going to be a dupe for something else, but then all of a sudden, and I had it sitting there for some time to use. It's a really nice palette, but then this came out, the Huda Beauty Icy Nudes, which is her last of that size. This is $118. It is currently sold out at Sephora, but if you like this colour story and you want to save yourself some money, this might actually be sold out on the other site. But we have the Be Perfect Defying Gravity palette, and come on, look at that. This was out first. This has been out for quite some time. I've had this for well over 12 months. Can you believe that? Like, seriously. So, and what I'm going to do is just use the same brush and clean it off in between. It's much easier doing that. So we will start with, let's have a look at some shades that are similar. Okay, so I'm going to go into this shade here. And use this as our transition. If you haven't tried Be Perfect eyeshadows, in Australia you can pick them up at Glaminatrix. They're quite affordable for what they are. I have a couple of the bigger palettes as well. The Carnival Stacey Marie ones. And maybe something else. So that is a nice neutral. And going into, I've cleaned this brush off. Going into this side now. This is just a smidgen, like just a smidgen cooler toned. But, I mean, let's be real. You're not going to notice that. Clean off the brush. So like when I clean it off, it cleans off. If you've not used one of these before, it's well and truly cleaned off. Okay, so on the Huda palette, I'm going between these two, the two darkest shades in there. And I'm just going to tuck this on the outer corner. We're going to keep this pretty simple. And now that I've placed it where I would like it, clean off the brush and start to work it. Because I don't want too heavy of a look with it. I just want pretty subtle. And up and out. You can see that that's what that has done. On this side, I'm going in with this and this one. And tapping it in. Again, just like I did with Huda. Tapping it in, working where I want it. Now cleaning off the brush. And moving that around. As I said, I wanted a more subtle, like it's still got depth to it, but I didn't want it to be too intense. It's a beautiful sunny day outside and I'm about to head outside for some lunch shortly. So it doesn't need to be too intense. Righty-ho. Underneath the eye, let me get a liner. You know what? I'm just going to go into this shade again that I used for the transition. I've just cleaned off the brush that I used for the darker shade. Going under. Just that simple, a really subtle wash. Clean off the brush. Get any fluff out of your eye. And into that top center shade on the Be Perfect. Same deal. Now let's have a look at shimmers. Just had a little interruption there with some visitors. The kids came to pick up stand-up paddleboard. So now going in with, obviously, I mean, this palette has these beautiful shades, right? And they are stunning. The Gravity one does not. What it does have is a silver. They both have a silver, so I'm going in with this silver on this side and tapping that on. Now, it's a 30-degree day and it is going into the silver on this side now. It's a 30-degree day and we've had a bit of a hold up. So lunch is now becoming a late lunch, early dinner by the time we get about it, because it's 1:30 now. By the time we go into town. Look at that. This is actually brighter. Seriously. A lot brighter. A lot more intense. By the time we go into town and get sorted, so it does have fallout though. I've just given myself a little bit of fallout, which, a little bit, a fair bit to be honest. Tapping that. Picked it up. Grab that brush and source. We're good. We're good. Right. I just want to intensify the outer corner again. Sorry, a little bit thrown after our visitors. I sort of lost where I am at. Go back into those and just reinforce that outer corner very gently. I'm just sort of tapping it like a little, like that, not going in hard. That is a super light touch. Just to see how that blend goes over there. On this side, having cleaned that off, going between these two colours and doing the same there. This is so much more intense. Clean that off. So this I need to blend, tap and go with my finger a little bit more. But that's fine, it's still the same outcome. Inner. Now, inner corner. Let's see how these look. Oh, they're very different. Very different. Are they? Or did I just stick my finger in something? Oh no. Okay. Oops. Can you see that? So this is the Hydra, which has a slight blue shift, and this is the Gravity. So instead, I think what I'll do is, instead of using the shimmer, I'm going to go into this white. Now in the Gravity palette, it's a bit more of a bone shade, but that's okay. I just want a little highlight, actually, and then I'm going to screw it. Let's see how we go, because there's not going to be, I just want to take it being matte off. Clean that off into this bone on here, and then into the shimmer. I just blew eyeshadow into my eye. I'm not going to use an eyeliner today. Now, we are getting down to the final things. So, on this side, I am going to put a finishing powder on. And this is Hourglass Dim Light, $93. I know you are wanting a dupe for it. Let's see how we go. So, tap that off. Just spread the, don't go in really hard, and or even with this with a puff. This is something you get a fluffy brush with and just wipe across. The magic in these sorts of products happen, like whilst it happens immediately, it also happens in about 30 minutes time. Now the dupe that we have for that is the Max Factor Miracle Veil Radiant Loose Powder. This full price is $35. I paid $21.57 for it. It's a loose powder. And that's okay. Is it meant to be a dupe for this? Possibly not. I have a feeling it's probably meant to be more duping maybe Laura Mercier, but it's giving, well, it says veil, so maybe I mean, look at that. If you're wanting to save yourself some money, my friends, I've given you a couple of dupes now for Huda Beauty Dim Light. The last time it was DB Cosmetics loose powder. See? Now I'm going to set my face down again to melt all of this in, and we'll be back to do, I'll also put mascara on my eyes, seeing as that is a single product on both eyes. And then we'll come back and do lips. Okay, so we are nearly done now. On this side, we are going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. I nearly didn't do a liner because I don't have a lot of high-end liners, just because I tend to use my Home Beauty all the time, more than anything. And the 3 other high-end ones I like are this, but not so much this shade in Iconic Nude, Natasha Denona, I Need a Need, and MAC Spice. I am going to get a few more soon. Using that to fill in. To be honest, lip liners are lip liners. Now on this side I have the Revolution Lip Satin Kiss Lip Liner. This is the shade Chauffeur. The price difference is Charlotte Tilbury is $38 and Revolution is $8, and a bigger pencil. And creamier, not as dry, but come on. Now the last products that I am using, one is discontinued. And a lot of people love this. God, it took me so long to get this product. And that is the Kevyn Aucoin Molten Lip Colour in the shade Fire Nectar. This you can pick up online at a couple of different sites for around $60 now. I can't remember what the price was of that. As I said, can't get it anywhere. On normal, like I picked this up from Mecca in the very last restock they did. And on this side we have the Revlon Super Lustrous Glimmer in the shade Glazed Almond. Full price $25.95, currently at time of recording $12.97. So close. I mean, look at that. That is beautiful. And then the Revlon on this side, just a slight, not quite as peachy. It's slightly more brown to it. This has got slightly more pink. But other than that, what do we think? I will, in the description box, or maybe even on the thumbnail, have the overall total retail price of both. I'm going out in public with 2 very different sides of my face on. What do you think? Do you like these videos? I mean, it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. 2 different, completely different makeup sides. Cannot tell. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know. So until next time, my loves, don't forget to tell your mum, tell your sister, tell your friends. Come along, subscribe, hang out, all of that jazz. Tell me what you think down below. Until next time, take care. Bye.